One man, three different armies, one war he never chose. His name was Yang Kyoungjong, and his story sounds impossible, but it is true. A Korean teenager who fought for Japan, the Soviet Union, and Nazi Germany, all before his 23rd birthday. This is not a story about heroes or villains, it is about survival in a world gone insane. In 1919, Korea was under Japanese occupation. That meant one thing: freedom did not exist. For young Yang, born into this era, life was about following orders or facing the consequences. By the time World War II broke out, Japan was desperate for manpower. They began drafting young Koreans into the Imperial Japanese Army. Yang was barely 18 years old when his name was called. He did not want to fight. He wanted to live. But in occupied Korea, refusing meant death. And so, he put on a uniform that was not his, and marched into a war that was not his own. Yang was sent to the Manchurian front, where Japan was fighting the Soviet Union. It was chaos, brutal, cold, endless artillery fire, and soldiers dying by the thousands. During one battle in 1939, the Soviets crushed Japanese forces in the region. Yang was captured, one of the thousands of Korean conscripts taken prisoner. For the Soviets, these men were not enemies, they were potential replacements. Yang, a teenager far from home, found himself wearing a Soviet uniform. Trained in Russian commands he barely understood. Life as a Soviet soldier was brutal. Food was scarce, discipline was merciless, and loyalty was demanded even from those who did not choose to be there. Yang was thrown into the Eastern Front, facing the German army. Imagine that: a Korean conscript fighting for the Soviets against Nazis in a war that meant nothing to him. But fate was not done with him yet. In 1943, during the Battle of Kharkov, the Germans surrounded Soviet forces. Thousands were captured, and Yang for the second time became a prisoner of war. The Germans looked at their prisoners and saw opportunity. Many of them were forced into service under what the Nazis called the Ostbatalon, or Eastern Battalions. Men from Soviet territories, Ukrainians, Georgians, even Koreans were forced to fight for Hitler's army. Yang was one of them. He traded one uniform for another, this time wearing a Nazi insignia on his sleeve, not by loyalty, but by survival. The Germans did not trust these men. They gave them poor equipment and stationed them on less critical fronts. But fate, cruel as ever, placed Yang right in the middle of one of the most famous battles in history, D-Day, June 6, 1944, Normandy, France. The sky roared with Allied planes. The ocean filled with ships. The world's largest invasion had begun. Yang, now in a German coastal unit, found himself facing Allied soldiers, Americans, Canadians, and British troops. He had no idea why he was there, or who he was even fighting for anymore. As bombs exploded around him, Yang tried to stay alive. He was not fighting, he was surviving. When the smoke cleared, he and several others were captured by American paratroopers. And when the Allies looked closer, they were stunned. The German soldier they'd caught was not German. He was not Russian. He was Korean. The Americans did not know what to do with him. He could not speak English, German, or Russian fluently. They thought he was a Japanese spy at first. Eventually, they discovered his incredible story: drafted by Japan, captured by the Soviets, captured again by Germany, and now in Allied hands. For years, historians debated if it was real, but records, testimonies, and POW photos confirmed that Yang Kyoungjong truly existed. He had survived 3 of the deadliest military machines in history without ever choosing to join any of them. After the war, Yang was sent to a prisoner camp in Britain. When he was finally released, he had no home to return to. Korea was divided, and his family presumed him dead. He later emigrated to the United States, settling quietly in Illinois. He never spoke publicly about the war. He lived an ordinary life until his death in 1992, far from the chaos that once defined him. For decades, his story was forgotten until it resurfaced in declassified archives and World War II documentaries. Some historians still debate certain details, like whether Yang was truly at Normandy or another front. But even with small uncertainties, one thing is clear: his story reflects the brutal truth about ordinary men trapped in global wars they never wanted. Yang was not fighting for ideology or glory, he was fighting for survival. And in that, he represents millions of forgotten souls lost in the machinery of war. Imagine being 18, taken from home, forced to fight for 3 countries, across thousands of miles, for causes you do not understand. That was Yang's reality. His life reminds us that war is not just generals and maps, it is human beings caught in the crossfire of power. His story is not about victory or defeat, it is about survival, resilience, and the quiet strength to keep living when the world goes mad. One man, three armies. One impossible life. Yang Kyoungjong did not fight for nations, he fought for himself. So, maybe the real question is, in a world at war, what would you do to survive?